Hello everyone. Welcome to Becoming Better, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge for holistic self-improvement through great books. This week, I'd like to bring you a warm and heartfelt topic for the early days of the new year. A video titled, True Kindness Always Hides in the Shadows, inspired by the famous novel The Shadow Thief by French author Marc Levy. In 2010, a novel of just over 200 pages was released. Within a week, it sold 450,000 copies, a testament to its powerful impact. That novel is none other than The Shadow Thief. The story follows a young boy who is often bullied by his classmates. One day, he accidentally discovers he has a unique superpower. Whenever his shadow overlaps with someone else's, he can steal their shadow. Through their shadow, he gains insight into their deepest secrets. For example, a classmate who appears cheerful and outgoing is revealed, through their shadow, to hide a broken heart. Another friend who seems happy is burdened by a painful childhood. Or someone who appears mature and composed may actually carry scars deep within their soul. Let's set aside the magical, fairy tale-like elements of this novel for a moment and focus on the profound message it offers. Marc Levy presents us with stories that uncover the struggles of ordinary people and the quiet strength of kindness. This kindness often exists silently within us, waiting to be awakened. The Shadow Thief has been described as a fairy tale for grown-ups, because each of us can find a piece of ourselves within its pages. It's a story filled with warmth, yet also deeply poignant, enough to bring tears to many readers' eyes. As you read this novel and reflect on it, you'll discover a new perspective on what true kindness really means. True kindness is quiet and selfless, existing in the shadows, without the need for recognition. It's about safeguarding the vulnerabilities of others, keeping them safely hidden in the dark. His story begins when a boy has to change schools after moving with his parents to a small town. The new environment brings many challenges, but the biggest one comes from a classmate named Marquez, a mischievous and rude child who leads a group of followers. During a class president election, Marquez, confident in his popularity, decides to run. However, when the votes are counted, no one votes for him except himself. The humiliation is overwhelming, but what stings even more is seeing the girl he secretly likes avoid him and grow close to someone else. Furious and desperate to hide his shame, Marquez lashes out, turning the Shadow Thief into his target. He bullies him, beats him, and even locks him in a locker. One day, the Shadow Thief accidentally steals Marquez's shadow and uncovers a deeply hidden truth. Despite his outward bravado, Marquez is actually a kind-hearted boy who has suffered greatly. His father constantly berates him for not being manly enough, often resorting to insults and even physical abuse. In one instance, Marquez's reluctance to kill a rabbit during a hunting trip enrages his father, who calls him worthless and a failure. Growing up in a household where his father's anger loomed large and his mother remained silent, Marquez internalized his pain. His shadow, full of sorrow, reveals his thoughts. My master believes he is an unworthy fool, unwanted since childhood. He has suffered so much, and as he grows older, the burden only worsens. This harsh treatment from his parents, especially his father's disdain, became the deepest wound Marquez sought to hide. Upon discovering this, the Shadow Thief chooses kindness, not by offering advice or consolation, but through silent understanding. He keeps Marquez's vulnerabilities hidden, much like a shadow that quietly follows behind. The Shadow Thief realizes that Marquez's bullying and antics are desperate attempts to gain attention and validation from those around him. One day, the Shadow Thief gently reminds Marquez about an upcoming class field trip. Later, during the trip, the Shadow Thief gets lost but is eventually found by Marquez. Back in class, the Shadow Thief praises Marquez, telling everyone, "I was so lucky that Marquez found me. He's amazing." The unexpected words leave Marquez stunned, while the teacher and classmates applaud him. From that day on, Marquez begins to change. He grows quieter, stops bullying, and eventually gains respect. Later, he is elected class president, and as an adult, he becomes the mayor of the city. Life is complex, with every individual carrying their own struggles and insecurities. Behind the seemingly incomprehensible words and actions of others often lie scars from childhood, hardships, or hidden feelings of inadequacy. When we learn of someone's weaknesses or embarrassments, it is an act of true kindness to remain silent and never expose them. True kindness lies in understanding without judgment, in seeing vulnerabilities without making them a spectacle. As someone once said, true gentleness isn't about eating without spilling rice. It's about not staring when others do. To be truly kind, one must look past others' mistakes without highlighting them, understand weaknesses without using them to cause shame. Sometimes kindness is best expressed through silence, hidden in the shadows, where it speaks louder than words. The story begins with a boy who met his first friend, Luke. Despite coming from a poor family, Luke had ambitious dreams of becoming a doctor. However, life took an unexpected turn. The one who eventually succeeded in getting into medical school was the boy nicknamed Shadow Thief, while Luke had to stay behind to work as a baker, supporting his family, which was teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. To Shadow Thief, Luke always seemed content and happy, so he felt assured about his friend's situation. But one day, Luke's shadow secretly followed Shadow Thief home and begged him to help Luke change his life, urging him to take Luke along before it was too late. The shadow revealed Luke's deep desire to become who he truly wanted to be. Troubled by this revelation, Shadow Thief decided to confront Luke's father to explain his friend's hidden struggles, hoping to help Luke. However, Shadow Thief's mother stopped him, saying, "If Luke finds out you've intervened, he might resent you. It's his life, and he alone must make his decisions." Despite his mother's advice, Shadow Thief, driven by concern for his friend, ran straight to Luke's bakery. Yet, upon seeing Luke's father, his mother's words echoed in his mind. "You cannot interfere in someone else's life, even if it's for their own good. That life is theirs to live." Feeling conflicted, Shadow Thief ultimately left without saying anything. A few days later, while returning to his dormitory, Shadow Thief saw Luke standing there with a suitcase. It turned out that Luke's father had understood everything and decided to support his son in pursuing medicine. Thanks to Shadow Thief's subtle encouragement, Luke eventually passed his exams and received a scholarship. Luke and Shadow Thief's story reminds me of a saying: everyone has their own path in life. You may have mountains to climb, while I may have rivers to cross. Those climbing mountains don't need to understand how deep the rivers are, and those crossing rivers don't need to measure the mountain's height. Each journey, though different, has its own beauty and challenges. In life, people often mean well but can unknowingly impose their perspectives. Someone might tell you which career path to take, insisting their choice is more promising. Others may advise you to settle down before starting a business, or suggest that women should stay home to care for their families instead of returning to work. While these suggestions might seem wise, they may not align with the dreams or circumstances of the person they're given to. No one can take full responsibility for another's life, nor do they have the right to decide it. A genuine relationship, no matter how close, should respect the autonomy of the other person. As a German writer once said, "I only offer advice when someone asks for it, and even then I'm cautious, because experience is like an old suit. It rarely fits someone else." True kindness is not about imposing your beliefs but about quietly being a source of warmth, like spring rain nurturing growth in silence. A renowned psychologist once said, "Don't try to change others. Be like the sun, radiating light and warmth, and let those lost in the dark find their way on their own." Another important figure in Shadow Thief's life was an older school janitor, Iz, who was more than 40 years his senior but became his close friend. Iz's story began with an accident. A gas explosion at the school nearly claimed his life and revealed a secret he had kept for decades. That night, even while injured, Iz snuck back into the burnt-out guardroom to retrieve a notebook written by his late mother. But it was then that his shadow appeared, and Shadow Thief witnessed a strange truth. Iz had never met his mother, who passed away when he was a baby. Growing up with relatives, Iz longed for maternal love so deeply that he imitated a mother's voice and wrote heartfelt messages to himself in that notebook. Shadow Thief, moved by his pain, decided to help. He persuaded his own mother to write a warm letter as if from his slate mother, then secretly buried it for Iz to find. The plan worked. Iz was deeply comforted by the letter and felt inspired to seek happiness. Shadow Thief told him, "A mother's greatest wish is for her child to be happy. You should be happy and live your own life." A few days later, Iz left his job as a janitor to pursue a career he had always wanted, finally embracing the life he deserved. The story begins with a boy who finds his first friend in life. In reality, each of us, like is in the tale, carries a quiet sorrow within. A broken relationship, a humiliating failure, a bitter regret, or a mistake too late to fix. These moments, however fleeting, leave scars. That's why, when you see someone else's wounds, refrain from touching them or speaking of them. Exposing those scars is akin to sprinkling salt on a wound. As the renowned economist Friedrich Hayek once said, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." These intentions often come from what we believe is right, but the greatest kindness is to respect another's boundaries, avoid intruding into their lives, and refrain from poking at their hidden pain. The Shadow Thief has been hailed by French media as one of the most touching novels in over a decade. It does not rely on life or death drama, nor does it dwell on love or hatred. Instead, it resembles a gentle melody played on the radio on a quiet afternoon, allowing its warm stories to flow through the hearts of readers. Remember, no matter how hard life gets, there will always be those who silently shield and support us. Life may hold regrets, but it also contains countless warm gestures, often unspoken. These quiet acts of kindness make our lives sweeter and more meaningful. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those around you to spread a little warmth as spring approaches. Don't forget to support Becoming Better with a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. May you and I both be like the sun, shining with our own light without forcing it upon others, spreading warmth quietly and sincerely. Thank you, and see you in the next video.